Hello again. Sorry, I think I'm coming down with something. As I said in the last video, this is the line of movement, and it's used so that you can figure out which way your person shall be facing. I'll repeat that you do not have to have each area facing the same direction. However, if it's a really, really odd angle, everybody's going to notice something's wrong because it's just something humans can't do. Sorry. As much as you want to be Mr. Fantastic, you just can't. I'm sorry. Next is the waist. This is done several ways depending on who you are. Sometimes it's a ball, sometimes it's just another little rectangle. What I'm doing, by the way, it's shapes. Obviously, you should know that. Not calling anybody stupid, so, but the human body is made up of just numerous different shapes. Like your arm is a series of cylinders and circles for joints and etc. etc. And a lot of people will just try and sit there and just draw the body in first-hand, freehand, whatever, and it never doesn't seem to come out right, because it really, really, really does help when you use this system. Even professional artists use it all the time. Excuse me. But a lot of people don't know this fact, or they don't want to go through this series of drawing and erasing and this and that and the other thing. They think it takes too long, it still doesn't look right. But really, if you can see the proportions out by yourself before you actually do it, that's one of the greatest things in the world, because everybody does it. They depend so much on the details that the basic art itself isn't up to the caliber they can do. Like, if you make the most gorgeous shirt in the world on this person, but the arms are literally 2 inches long compared to everything else, it's like it just doesn't look right. And that's why I always use this. I always draw it out, always. A lot of I'm sure everybody's seen them on YouTube, people who don't, and they are either very, 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 very good, or they are looking at something, or they've memorized this picture or something like that. They've drawn this one thing so many times they just know how it's going to look. But if you see somebody drawing a new picture from scratch, you will usually see them using this. So that's just a thing I've noticed that I'm pointing out. So next we're going to do the hips, and the hips they can be drawn a number of ways, I suppose. A lot of people, they'll use a circle. I think that kind of makes my people look like an ant. So I use this little almost diamond-esque system. I just come out. I guess a circle is good to see where it's going to be, and the hips on a woman should be no wider than 2 heads. Unless you're making a femme fatale and she's woo, or if it's like an old motherly person who's got a really, really big set of mommy hips. I've seen that. A lot of people do that too. It's ridiculous what they use. Speaking of which, the head should probably be smaller than 1 head long. It should not be about a half a head. It should probably be about 3/4, which you can see it is about here. Head is, half a head is too skinny, unless you're doing a very realistic portrait where the waist would be over a head wide. Most manga people just don't like that look, and I understand that. Depending on your style, it can make your characters look a little overweight. And I know nobody likes the overweight look for some reason, even though they're such cute little characters. Okay, I'll shut up now. I'm feeling I might get mobbed. You know, head, no more than 2 heads, you know. I find that just a head is fine. And then I come and I turn, and I come here to the crotch area. And if you notice my shoulders, this is the curve of the spine, and it goes back. Excuse me. And it goes back, and then it comes forward, and then, because that's what your spine does, it goes like this. This is a side view. And that's why you see people sometimes, their spines don't look quite right, and it's usually because they're not in that exact shape. If you have a bad back, sometimes you'll have a plate sticking out here somewhere when the rest are like this, you know, or your back just could be hunched over like this when it should be like that. And it's not a straight line, so don't draw your people standing straight like this. It makes them look rigid, like they're in the army or something, you know? Okay. I think I just drew somebody from an old Scooby-Doo cartoon. If you like that style, that's great. But it's not what a back would normally do. Like I've said before, necks go forward, heads come out like this. This is where a body would be, etc. So, back to hips. But also, if it's a front view for the center line, you would probably not so much use it as a spine, but so much would use it as, like I said, which way your character is facing. Like mine looks like she'd probably look over this direction, even though her legs are facing another. And you know, that's great. People do that all the time. Alright, now the legs. I always do the legs before arms, that way I can measure them correctly. Because the arms, if you stand up and you stand straight, tall, and have your arms completely relaxed, they will probably, your fingers will end mid-thigh. This can, you know, vary a little bit, but not very extensively. People do that a lot. They'll make legs too short, arms too short, and etc. But usually that happens with foreshortenings. So right now we're just working with a straight on character pretty much. So I'm gonna make more balls. Don't even. No bad jokes, people. These are the hips. Hip joints, they are round. You know that. Everybody knows that. Everybody's seen a hip joint. And we're going to come out from there. And a lot of people love to, some people make their legs too skinny, some make them too wide. I usually go at the top with about a head wide, like a wide head. And then remember, things go in at the knee, so you don't want to get too small, maybe, you know, half a head or so. And then you come back out again, because that's how your calf is shaped. It's got this lump coming out up here, and it curves down. And if you look at a leg from the side, it really does have kind of an S curve to it. Here's a bum, here's a leg, here's the knee, and here's the calf, and here's the foot. Not exactly, but if you're standing straight up with locked knees, that's usually how your leg would look. So it does that too a little bit on the front view, although it also has this little outjutting. Let's see if I can move my sketchbook high enough. This little outjutting here, go down. The thing that I just didn't do, that I made a mistake on, was I didn't measure, and I'll do that in the next video because I'm running out of time again. Next, hopefully, we'll get the arms and legs drawn. Won't that be fun?